Welcome to Lacrosse Classified, your go-to source for all things NLL and box lacrosse. We will bring you the biggest names and best storylines in the world every single week. So settle down and listen up. It's time for Lax Class.
What's up, lacrosse fans? Welcome back to Lacrosse Classified. Lax Class 347 is underway. Thanks for joining us. Jake Elliott, Lucas Archer with you, and couldn't be more excited to talk some lacrosse here for the next hour and probably a little bit on top of that. Lucas, what's going on, dude? Welcome back to the pod, and what's going on in your life these days?
I'm in the middle of getting a new kitchen. That's what's going on. The kitchen renos
You are getting a new kitchen, or Funky is getting a new kitchen?
Funky's getting the new kitchen, and she's getting her wine fridge. She's getting a new fridge as well, and I'm just the passenger in this case. So I'll rephrase it. My house is getting a new kitchen.
That's a little more like it. I'm getting a new kitchen. But there's got to be more exciting things going on in your life. I know there is, in fact, than your mom getting a new kitchen. What else is going on?
This past weekend, got the opportunity to call some more games, starting out young. So I was up in Collingwood, Ontario, on the shores of Georgian Bay, calling some Senior B action, which was
sound
fun.
so luxurious. Collingwood on the shores of Georgian Bay. Is it a nice area, Collingwood? Is it good?
It is. Yeah,
Okay.
It is. I love going up there. My cottage is not too far from there. So if you've ever heard of Blue Mountain,
Now, your cottage or...
No, it's actually Funky's parents' cottage.
Okay.
So it's my grandparents' cottage, but it's the family cottage that all my relatives on my mom's side
I
go
got
up
you.
to.
I
So
got
it's
you.
fun.
I got you.
But no, Collingwood's a great place. Love going there.
Yeah, Six Nations, I believe, and I tuned into a little bit of that one. I was on the Snake Island Kanawage game as well. That was going on at the same time, so I had to check in on the Snake Island boys, of course, and was trying to watch little Peterborough Six Nations as well. Couldn't find a way to do that. Popped off on the X a little bit. I was frustrated. One team in the major series, you're able to watch their home games. Tonight, in fact, as we record, Six Nations, I think, taking on Brampton. So I don't know how much of a game that will be, but we'll maybe check that out a bit later. I'm in Maple Ridge tonight for Shamrocks and Burrards. 2 games tonight, in fact, here on Tuesday, which is kind of irrelevant as this thing will come out on Wednesday. But Coquitlam taking on Burnaby tonight as well. What else is going on, Lucas? Played a little round of disc golf yesterday. In fact, just 9 holes, test the back out a little bit. Didn't want to push things too far, so took it pretty easy. Played some short holes, just 9, then cut myself up. Still feeling okay. Went up the stairs again today, so obviously good enough to do that. It's a cooker here right now. The AC is on full crank again here. We're talking 30 degrees. Everything's heating up here as far as lacrosse goes as well. And man, I feel like there is many things to talk about as far as what's kind of transpired here over the last 6-7 days. And we'll do so throughout the program here. So I got a bunch of stuff kind of jotted down, and we'll try and apply it to the show. But we got Lax Class Report Cards coming up. We have our Rycor standout players. We have our Goalie Factory Goalie of the week. This week's guest, I'm looking forward to this conversation. I always say here on the program, we don't pay enough attention, or we don't talk enough about the Rocky Mountain Junior Lacrosse League. There's a lot of lacrosse to be consumed in the summertime, and it's hard to, but I think I've rectified that problem. I can now watch a little more Rocky Mountain Junior Lacrosse League. This week, we're going to get the head coach of the Raiders Lacrosse Club. He's former Raider himself, former NLLer, former WA player. Mitch Banister will join us in period number 2. Look forward to a good conversation with Mitch Banister, who's really seen it all from the Alberta landscape. Player, coach, manager. He's kind of done it all. His dad, of course, owned the Calgary Roughnecks at one time before selling that to Calgary Sports and Entertainment. So he's a well-known person there in Alberta and well-connected, and a heck of a coach as well. Mitch Banister coming up in period number 2. Lax Class Lock of the Week in period 3. We were 1 single goal away from cashing the parlay. I was way off of my odds, by the way. We got the Dixon 4 points. We got the Coquitlam plus 1.5. We even got the Del Bianco assist. And we needed over, what was it? 17.5 it was. Coquitlam up 9-8. Empty net for New Westminster. And he just runs it across center. Pull up. No shot at the empty net. Runs out the clock. 17 goal total to finish the game. 1 goal is all we needed. We didn't get it. We'll try again and hopefully do a little bit better. I'm putting it on you this week. I'm still recovering for the classmates, of course. The pain that they must have endured watching that. Oh, my goodness. And of course, we're going to take you around the world of box lacrosse. And as we have for the last couple of weeks here, largely, let's start in with the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League. As we're going to talk to Mitch a lot about this, but they're up 2-0 in their series over the Saskatchewan SWAT. Game 1 actually pretty close. Game 2, not so much. Not so much. I think it was 19-2, the final maybe in that one. But on the other side of the bracket, Mountaineers have taken the first 2 from the Miners. Of course, the Miners traded away Tide and Redlick, but then acquired some guys at the deadline as well. I don't know whether they're in or they're building for the field. I don't know what's going on there, but the Mountaineers have tight games, both of them. But Mounties up 2, Raiders up 2.
These series have been, I wouldn't say closer than I expected, but definitely some curveballs. Yeah, game 1 of Raiders SWAT. That was definitely puzzler
That might have been the best game Saskatchewan has played all season long.
Probably. I don't know why it took them 2 months, but hey, apparently playoff lacrosse is just different. Players want to play more, and they actually know something's on the line.
Well, it was good to hear my buddy Ryan Flaherty, who I used to call games with in Saskatchewan, on the call for those ones. I don't know why it started in Saskatchewan either, but now they're going back to Stu Peppard Arena, and we'll see if the Raiders can kind of finish them off. I think they will. But on the other side, I don't expect the Miners just to kind of duck out of this series, although they're down 2-0 here. I think there's still some fight left in that club, and we'll see if that one goes a little longer than the other. The BC Junior A Lacrosse League playoff matchups are set. It came down to a final game for the Langley Thunder against Nanaimo, and it was a win, and you're in, a lose, and you're out scenario for the Thunder, and they were right there. Caleb Kahn stood on his freaking head in this game, but it wasn't enough. Nanaimo wins by 3, so Langley loses. They are out, which means the Delta Islanders have qualified for the postseason for the first time since 2016, and that being a year that they actually beat Coquitlam in the BC final and qualified for the Minto Cup, which was in BC that year, but it wasn't a host bid. This Minto was played in Langley, and Coquitlam and Delta were in that Minto Cup. Langley wasn't in the Minto Cup, although it was played in Langley. That was the first time the Adnex had lost the BC final in a good stretch. Like, I'm talking probably 6-7 years. They lost that one. They went on to win the Minto, however, in 2016, as Delta didn't make it to the semi. But then now Coquitlam has rattled off like another 9 BC titles in a row, I think. So they're like 15 out of the last 16 years or something. They have been the BC champs, and now it's a rematch for the first time since 2016, and they have decided, Lucas, it will be a best of 7 in round number 1.
I think that's how every playoff format should be. None of this 2 out of 3, 3 of 5, whatever. No. Make the players play best of 7, minimum 4. That's what they want to play. They don't want to start a series on a Monday and it could be potentially wrapped up on a Thursday. They want to play as long as they can, as hard as they can, and they want to see what both their team and their opponent is made of. But going back to what you were saying, Jake, Delta, it's been 9 years. I bet they are very happy.
They actually beat Coquitlam this year in Delta as well and did it pretty handily. Like, I want to say by 10 one night, but then Coquitlam kind of turned around the next time and did the same thing to them the next time they played. But, I mean, what a sweat that must have been for all those Delta Islanders sitting there watching that Langley Nanaimo game, knowing that the fate of it is out of their hands and they just have to kind of sit there and watch it play out. Goes in their favor. That series gets going tonight, in fact, Wednesday, I believe, and every second night. And yeah, they are able to go to a 7-game series as well, as because the first round matchup is also Victoria and Nanaimo. So no ferry travel there, which allows those guys to play midweek games. And sometimes with island teams and mainland teams, all they will do is play on the weekend, and then you're talking time constraints and all the rest of it. So it just worked out that it's Victoria against Nanaimo, and I think that was an easy decision to go to a 7-game series. And the BC final, I'm sure, will be the same as well. OJ, playoffs are underway in the OJLL, and the matchups being Peterborough and Six Nations, Mimico versus Toronto, Kitchener-Waterloo, the KW Junior A Lacrosse Club, and the Orangeville Northmen. And then St. Catharines and the Whitby Warriors are the 4 matchups in round number 1. Now, we can tell you here at time of recording, Toronto a 1-0 lead, Orangeville a 1-0 lead, Whitby a 1-0 lead, and Peterborough a 1-0 lead. And Peterborough and Six Nations are playing here as we record tonight, along with Mimico and Toronto. Or they're all playing. All 3 series are going. But I'm going to watch this Peterborough Six Nations game, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, so am I. It's going to be a good one. I will be turning that game on as soon as I get off the floor for my ball hockey game tonight. I'm playing in a little men's league pickup action tonight, so I got to go play that. And as soon as I get off the floor, I'll be tuning in from Peterborough Memorial Center. Game 1, Lakers Nation's overtime victory out. So I'm curious to see what Game 2's got in store for them.
Yeah, I think that one's going the full 5 games, one way or the other. Peterborough's
Well, it
really
went
been
5 last year when these 2 teams faced each other in the 2-7 series. Now it's the 4-5. I wouldn't be surprised if it went the distance.
That series got a little nasty as well, and that's how you build rivalries, is meeting each other in back-to-back years in the playoffs. And Peterborough's been a sneaky team coming down the stretch. Not a lot of people talking about the junior Lakers, but they could be poised for a bit of a run here. I think, where do we want to go? Let's go major series lacrosse. Like I said, 15-2 for the Chiefs, 1-12 for the Excelsiors. That's going to be a mismatch. Peterborough has won their last couple of games. They actually got a second win over the Chiefs. Those are their 2 losses. And Brooklyn kind of sitting pretty in third here. And then you look, Owen Sound, Cobourg, Oakville. Thing with Oakville, though, they're just 2 points back of both Cobourg and Owen Sound for that 4th spot. But they've only played 13 games here. And if they can just win those head-to-head matchups against those teams, I think Oakville might sneak in.
They've been in it for the majority of their games. It's been the conversation of how much does Jamie Dalwick want to play his prospect that he has in the Toronto Rock organization, and how much playing time does he want to give them, as well as seeing what Holochuk can do in net summer ball. So it's been close, and you're right, 2 points out. Anything's possible, and with Owen Sound being in the playoffs right now with the 4 seed, you don't know what could happen. As I think all 7 teams have
out of those 3
games
teams
left.
Who's going to make it? Who's going to make it?
Cobourg. It's going to be Cobourg, because at the end of the day, not only have they beaten Brooklyn, and I think they've beaten Peterborough once this season, but Cobourg has that ability to win in the final minutes, in those clutch moments. It's not to say that Owen Sound and Oakville can't. They just haven't done it this year. They haven't proven that they can in 2025. They've done it in years past, but Cobourg's been able to come in and steal a game that, the favorites thought that they might win. And not that it makes that much of a difference, but being that Cobourg's home arena is the Cobourg Community Center, the benches are on opposite sides, just like in Peterborough. If need be, Cobourg is able to win in transition, especially in the second period on the long chain. So that gives them an advantage over their opponents.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I've never played a game with benches on the opposite sides of the floor. It looks weird. I don't know how weird it is to play in or even ref in. Like, it probably
it's weird
changes.
to ref. I was going to say that. As an
So,
official, you got to look at the bench that's right in front of you. Then you got to look right across the floor to see who's getting early. And then if you need to, let's call it illegal substitute.
Yeah, I mean, part of me likes it, and part of me, I don't know. I feel like it's an unfair advantage in some, but I can't identify what that advantage is. I don't know. I feel like it takes something away from the game when all the goalie has to do is just lob it out to an open spot on the floor, knowing the team the other team is running the other direction. Like, you know what I mean? It takes a skill or something away from the game that I don't quite like. One thing I did want to mention about the BC Junior Lacrosse League is had a lot of people asking me, I don't think we can go any further without discussing the acquisition of one Cody Malowski. Now, I said on here when the trade deadline passed back on July 1st, well, it looks like Langley is going to hang on to Cody Malowski for a playoff run here, which, I think was kind of all part and parcel to what has transpired over the last couple of years, it being his 5th and final year, finish out his career with the Thunder. He's got his Minto. Okay, fine. So from what I can gather, talking to multiple people about what the hell went on here, this is what I can kind of make sense of. And I don't know all the ins and outs and how everything works in this intricate deal that has been swung. But the trade deadline on July 1st, I am told that both Coquitlam and Langley finally figured out a deal to make it work at the Junior A level. Whatever that deal was, I don't have the particulars of said deal. So they finally, I think, they were probably playing poker, waiting for the last minute, and then they waited too long and missed the deadline, which happens. I'm sure a lot of trades fall through at the last minute because they miss a deadline. But they weren't done discussing how they could make this work. Now, Cody Malowski is from Maple Ridge. Maple Ridge does not have a Junior A team yet. So they essentially own Cody Malowski's Junior B rights. But with it being Cody's final year of junior lacrosse, Maple Ridge, why would they, didn't protect Cody's rights, which they had done after year 3, after year 4, well knowing that he was never going to play Junior B lacrosse, but you still just sign that piece of paper. Yes, he's our property at the Junior B. Well, in his 5th year, no need to do that. It's not playing Junior B. You don't own Cody Malowski's rights anymore as he graduates out. So somehow, some way, Coquitlam learned about Cody Malowski not being protected by the Maple Ridge Junior B lacrosse team, which I guess in turn turns his rights back over to Langley and his Junior A rights and maybe his Junior B rights. I don't know. This is where I get confused. But Langley and Coquitlam decide or come to an agreement that they are going to trade the rights of Cody Malowski's Junior B rights, and now Coquitlam can call up Cody to their A club as a AP player, which is about as creative as you can get. Everything seems to be above the board here. Like there's no, they didn't cross any lines or break any rules. It's all above board. But a lot of people asking me what happened here. How is this possible after the 10 days after the trade deadline? So from what I can understand, that is how Cody Malowski went from being a Langley Junior A Thunder to maybe a Maple Ridge Burrard Junior B player, back to Langley, and then ultimately ending up back in Coquitlam as a Junior B player, but he's not going to play a game of Junior B. So pretty crazy stuff there. The loophole of all loopholes, the perfect storm. I don't know how you want to classify this, but that's how it all worked.
It took me a while to connect all the dots when I saw this and heard about it and talked to some people that I know, etc. I think I'm still working on connecting all the dots because even after that explanation you just gave, Jake, I think I'm still lost on a couple things. But at the end of the day, Cody Malowski is back, purple and gold, and a mistake by Maple Ridge.
Yeah,
not protecting his Junior B rights.
They miss out on it all, right? Like they could have maybe gotten some like he was reclassified as a Junior B player, and they could have got some compensation coming their way as well. But again, why would they protect his rights? He's in his 5th year and graduating out. What's the point? Well, that's the point.
Yeah, that is the point. So as I said, mistake by Maple Ridge. Good on Coquitlam. Hey, I have to praise Coquitlam for finding that, knowing about it, and recognizing it. to then be able to make some sort of junior B agreement with Langley. And now he'll be an AP, and Coquitlam will call him up most likely for every remaining game that they have. But
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
maybe I'm wrong on some of that because I'm getting it from one, I'm getting it from another, and I'm trying to kind of piece it all together. Maybe there's some misinformation in there. I tried to explain it the best I could. Bottom line is, it's signed, sealed, delivered. He's there, and he's going to try and make another run to the Minto Cup with the Ace. I'm looking at this Coquitlam team now, especially with the addition of him. Their back end is about as solid as it gets. I think they're well put together offensively now on both sides of the floor. And then, I'm looking at Alberta, who I think is a good lacrosse team, but they're so hard to gauge because you just don't know if they got the competition to kind of evaluate that properly. And then Ontario, was about as tough as it gets this year with about 6 teams kind of jockeying positions right to the bitter end. And I don't know if there's a real clear-cut favorite in the East like maybe we've seen in years past as well. Like I want to put Orangeville in that conversation or in that category because they were the team there last year. They finished first again. But then their first playoff game, KW lost by a goal. And I was like, maybe they got some holes and some warts here in Orangeville this year. So
Well, I was at
listen,
that game at the Bunny Barn. It had been a while since I saw KW and Whitby. So seeing them post trade deadline in the playoffs, they are scary good. And I was even talking to Rusty Kruger after the game, and he was saying, and he was telling me that that team's very good and they're going to give us a run in round one. Max Frateroli, Chris Rathwell, John Laug, oh my gosh, and then Zach Richards, who's in his second year, I believe, in junior, and being able to literally stand on his head, KW will look very good in a couple of years to come, and they may steal a game, if not two, against the Northmen.
yeah, and it's kind of hard to figure out a little bit with that KW team because they've kind of shipped off their veterans year after year after year. They keep, kind of restocking and reloading, but they look like a pretty good team. They could be a scary team. I think ultimately Orangeville gets through that series, but we'll see. So, and then you got the wild card in St. Catharines who have popped off here. They prove they can beat good teams. They're going to be at home. They're sleeping in their own beds, and you can't discount that. But the West has not won a Minto Cup in the East forever. Like I don't even know when it was. The 80s, I think. I should know that, but it's been a long, long time. Look that up, Lucas. Last time a Western team won back East in the Minto Cup. It's a crazy long time ago. Point being, I think this year, Coquitlam, especially with winning it last year at home and not losing a ton from that team, adding back what they needed, kind of filling in the pieces once again, this might be the year that they get it done. It's time for Lax Class Report Cards.
Settle down, class. Today is report card day. Today is report card day. It's report card day.
I take out my report card. Throw some D's on that. I take out my report card.
Report cards, they're brought to you by the Western Lacrosse Association. Go to the WLA website at WLAlacrosse.com to see and stay up to date with all the scores, standings, stats, news, transactions, WLA TV. It's all there. Follow their social media accounts as well as Ryan and Caitlin are cranking out the content. I can't remember the guy who's shooting the content now. He's doing a great job. The socials are buzzing for WLA Lacrosse as well, so give all those accounts a follow. And we thank the WLA for sponsoring report cards here this week. Lucas, you going failure grade, maybe enrichment level grades here, or maybe just getting by, just trying to get by kind of grade.
I'm not trying to get by this week. It's an A level performance, and I'm skipping everything in summer ball this week, Jake, and I'm heading right to the top. National Lacrosse League and TSN announced today a 1-year partnership contract extension to the end of the 2026 NLL season. The NLL announced one with ESPN down in the States, and they did it up here today in Canada. Great to see that the National Lacrosse League will be streamed countrywide for at least one more season.
Yeah, I don't know what the exact agreement is with TSM, but good to see. So it'll all be back on the platform there on TSM Plus, I'm assuming as well. Something is not an A, which you saw these videos, Lucas, and a repeat offender here as well. This is assault. Absolute axe chop with the woody over a kid's head late in a game. And I don't know what the circumstances are surrounding why he felt the need to do that. But there's another incident of him in another game against Orangeville, I think, doing something pretty similar. I don't know what's going on with this guy. He should be suspended for a long, long time for doing something like that. And quite frankly, maybe even charged for assault. Like I said, that is using a weapon. That's using a weapon to try and injure somebody doing something like that. I don't want to really give it any more attention than any of that, Lucas. And I don't want you to comment on it either because it's just not worth it. But how is he even on the floor in a situation like that with knowing a guy has the propensity to do something like that? Provincial champions in minor lacrosse here across the province of British Columbia were crowned at U17, U15, girls, boys, all in different locations. Shout out to all the volunteers who help put on these minor provincials in whatever venue or city or town they may be in. It takes a real big effort to pull off a host a provincial championship. It looked like everything went off without a hitch right across the board. So well done to everybody involved with all of those. We talked about the loophole here with Malowski in the first. And it brought up a bigger topic of how it's not a level playing field across the country as far as like Ontario teams can affiliate with multiple junior B teams, or Alberta, whoever qualifies for the Minto Cup can pick up to 5 players from teams that did not make it to the Minto and bolster their roster heading to the Minto Cup. BC has had a propensity for picking on the bottom feeder teams, making deals for the rest of their season, and then turning the player rights back to their original team at the end of the year just to try and compete at Minto Cups. And I really believe that we need to get to a point where Lacrosse Canada steps in and says, these are the guidelines, these are the rules, and apply this across the board. Like, I understand why Alberta at first was allowed to kind of supplement they were getting their asses handed to them on a regular basis. They needed that just to kind of prop them up a little bit. I'm not sure that's the case anymore. And for the fact that Ontario can affiliate with a junior B club in their home catchment and then go and find the next best junior B team somewhere and go, yeah, they're our property as well. And maybe even a second one doesn't seem right to me whatsoever. Can't do that here. And for here in BC, I don't like the fact that when you trade a player, you should trade a player, and that player shouldn't return back to their original club at the end of the year. Like, you should have to find a way to make deals that are permanent, not these kind of rental type deals that help out the top teams and keep the lower teams down. Like, it just doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't seem fair to me. But the problem with all of this is that each provincial organization controls their own, like the BCLA controls the BCLA, the OLA controls the OLA, and same with the Rocky Mountain. And none of those organizations are willing to capitulate and say, okay, like we're going to turn over that power, essentially. But until we have a level playing field right across the country, this is always going to be a problem in our sport. Provinces governing their own province for the betterment of their province and not the betterment of the sport.
It's the definition of lacrosse getting in its own way. Because at the end of the day, people have been saying it for years. Lacrosse is its own worst enemy. You have some people that are unfortunately still living in the dinosaur ages and they want to do things the old school way, how it was, back in the 90s, back in the 80s, etc. And they are not getting with the program and looking ahead to the future. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Jake. There needs to be some sort of agreement or rules, regulations, bylaws, whatever the case is, and put it in 100% on paper in black and white. Like no more gray area.
Yeah, I just feel like until somebody steps in and says this is the way it is, nothing is going to change. Like, why would BC change in-house unless somebody tells them that they have to change? And I don't know if Lacrosse Canada has that kind of power or not, but something needs to change. And you're right, sometimes this sport just needs to get out of its own way. It'll always come back to population, right? And how many players are playing the sport in one province compared to the other. And that's why this is done, because of that. And they have more teams and they have more players, and well, you have less teams, and so your team should be better. They got to figure it out. Again, this is probably above my pay grade, and I don't have all the answers here to how to do that, but there's smarter people in this world than me working at this type of stuff. I hate having the discussion every time around about how it's not fair for this or it's not fair for that. You're right, it's not. So how do we make it fair, I guess, is where I'm going with all this, and hopefully we can get to a place like that one day.
I think we need it because that's the only way that this game is going to grow. And being that lacrosse will officially be in the Olympics in 3 years' time, as World Lacrosse put out their announcement today, we're 3 years away from LA 28. There needs to be some sort of change. I don't know what that looks like.
No other sport is like that. No other sport.
No, you're right. I can't think of a single event, sport, etc. that
different
operates the way
rules
lacrosse
for different provinces going into the tournament. It's insane. All right, enough of that. Lax Class Report Cards are done, but we're not done here in period number 1. We're heading for the factory, the Goalie Factory, for our Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week.
Big save, Giuliano. Rebound call, Crime Stoppers.
Vince just scored a goalie goal.
Jameson somehow comes up with the stop. Larceny.
And here's Shane Jackson off the bench. And there's Christian Del Bianco with a stick side save. All right, Goalie Factory, Goalie of the Week, brought to you by the Goalie Factory. That makes sense. Goalie Factory, they are led by head coaches Riley Brown, Caleb and Marcus Kahn, head trainer Curtis Armstrong, and the media manager over there is Daniela Carey. You can follow their social media accounts on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram at Goalie Factory _. And whether you're a beginner or an experienced goaltender looking to take your game to the next level, they will help you build confidence and achieve your goals. Saw my buddy, the Rip Wall there, replied to our Instagram account and said he corrected me, Lucas, from a week ago. Said not only was he a one-time MVP at the Jack Crosby, but a two-time MVP at the Jack Crosby Awards. I said nice job there, Ripwall. Just make sure you stay humble. Just stay humble there, two-time MVP. And he said, oh, yeah, I am. I'm heading right back to the Goalie Factory now that box season is done. So right back to work for him. And I know Jagger Bomberry got a big kick out of being a Rycor Standout Player of the Week as well. But this is the Goalie Factory, and our Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week this week, Quinn McLaughlin. And you might ask who Quinn is. Well, he is a member of the Junior Seals, and I've had Quinn's father in my DMs talking about his boy. He's a U14 goaltender that's been working with, Mikey Poulin and Chris O'Riglieri and Wes Berg and all those Junior Seals down there in San Diego. 14-year-old playing at the U17 level, and was just named the Montana Junior Lacrosse League MVP for the Rockhoppers. I guess they won the tournament. Quinn was the MVP of this tournament, and he's getting a lot of shine on the socials right now. And I thought, what better time than to talk a little Junior NLL, Junior Seals, our Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week, Quinn McLaughlin.
I'm going to hope his goalie setup is in Seals colors, because now that I'm here with Whippy and Tyden Redlick has come out and he's got his Seals get up. Oh man, is it ever beautiful to look at. Purple and gold pads. Oh, it's a thing of beauty to look at. But nonetheless, congrats, Quinn. Hope the tournament in Montana was nice. And You're learning from two of the best goalies ever in the NLL. Welcome to the Goalie Factory.
Welcome indeed. One more quick segment to come. Purple and gold, Lucas, confirmed by San Diego and Coquitlam, by the way. And well, people always ask me about the purple and the gold logo as well. And what's up with that's not so much an ode to the Adnax or San Diego. That is more an ode to the creator and the Haudenosaunee Nationals, who also wear the purple and gold and maybe have the best uniforms in all of sports, quite frankly.
Not maybe, they do.
Yeah, seriously. Take my money. All right, one more segment to come. Rycor Construction Standout Players of the Week.
I'm a hard-working man.
I could ride, rope, hammer, and pick, do things mostly. Rycor Construction Players of the Week, Standout Players of the Week. Rycor. We know this. They make it stand out over there at Rycor, and they're always on the move here. RycorConstruction.ca, job site after job site. They just don't stop. See for yourself at Rycor Construction Inc. on Instagram or their Facebook. And then if you need a renovation, whether it be indoor, outdoor, exterior, interior, any type of renovation, they're going to make it stand out for you. And they got tons of experience. They give you an exceptional client experience, and they have quality craftsmanship to go along with it. www.Rycor Construction, email, phone number, contact info. It's all right there on their beautiful website. Well, Lucas, I had a tough time this week with my standout player of the week. I'll explain after you, but who stood out for you last week in the world of box lacrosse?
This isn't a player. This is a team and their actions that made it stand out for me. It's an ode to the Victoria Shamrocks Junior B Tier 1 team this past weekend. And Jake, you're the one that put me onto it a little bit as I saw your comment on the Coquitlam Adnax Junior A team. So I'm going to read out the Instagram post that the Junior Adnax made. Lax Class listeners, just stay with me for a second. The Coquitlam Junior Adnax Club would like to express their gratitude to the Victoria Shamrocks Junior Executive for accommodating our Junior B1 team and moving their schedule around to allow our Adnax B1 players the opportunity to support a teammate at their late father's celebration of life. We sincerely appreciate this gesture and look forward to a great semifinal series ahead. When someone, I'd said it right there in the caption, the Junior B executive, when people are allowed to look at one another and say that there are things in life that are bigger than this game of lacrosse, and they're able to make accommodations and put other people's needs ahead of the sport of lacrosse, that's all that needs to be said, and that is wholeheartedly an amazing gesture made by Victoria. They stood out in terms of that, allowing these players to grieve, mourn, and celebrate this player's late father.
Yeah, absolutely incredible gesture there from Victoria, and good catch on that for sure. And I love it, man. You know, it's living proof that lacrosse people are and can and have the capability to work together. These are two teams that, quite frankly, don't like each other very much, and they're going to play in the playoffs and the semifinals at that division, and it's going to be a heated rivalry. But to kind of put the greater good above that and beyond that, I thought was just a real classy move all around, not only for Victoria doing it, but Coquitlam acknowledging it and making people aware of that gesture. I thought was real nice all around. I told you I had a hard time kind of coming up with my Rycor. It's not that I have a hard time coming up with one. I have a hard time picking one this week, is that I have a number of candidates to select from. One of them being Bailey Vanachuk of the Langley Junior Thunder, and kind of what Bailey did this past season for them. Bailey is a bit of an undersized guy, but plays with absolute no fear, and really like his game. He came back from injury, and you know he played in that heartbreaking loss, and just had a a real good season for Langley Junior Thunder. So maybe not so much this past week, but a little recognition there for Bailey Vanachuk this week. Another guy I was wanted to give a mention to is to my main man back there on Snake Island in Joe freaking Hall. This is a regular season game on a Sunday night there at the Turtle Dome. Bitter rivals here in Snake Island and taking on Kahnawake, the Mohawks, who are a pretty good looking team in their own right. And I'm not exactly sure what happened, but 19-year vet, 20-year vet Joe Hall drops the bucket and mitts and goes toe-to-toe with some rookie from Kahnawake. The fact that this guy is not only still playing lacrosse, but willing to drop the mitts in a regular season game against a rookie tells you a lot about the legend of Joe Hall. And I wasn't going to go past this week without acknowledging that. But there's no way I cannot give my Rycor standout player of the week this week to the Victoria Shamrocks Kyle Pepper, who on Friday night had 10 total points going into that game at the 3/4 pole of the season. Puts up 7 and 5, 12 points in one game, eclipsing his season total in one night. So that stood out big time to me. Kyle Pepper, son of Grant Pepper of the Pepper twins of Shamrock fame, chip off the old block there on Friday night, 12 spot, helping the Shamrocks on a big time beatdown on the Langley Thunder.
Wow, 7 and 5, 12 in one night.
If that's coming from a Mitch Jones or a Will Malcolm or a Marcus Clarich, I might have a little side eye and be like, well, nice night for one of those guys. But Kyle Pepper, 10 points he had coming into the game after like 12 games. He was a point a game guy. And then he just goes off for 12 out of nowhere, which, again, it just stood out to me. So there you go. Joe Hall, Bailey Vanachuk, and Kyle Pepper. But Kyle Pepper is my real standout player this week. No question about it. Period 1 is done, but we're just getting started here on Lax Class. Period 2 is next, and it features the head coach of the Raiders Lacrosse Club, Mitch Banister, joins us next. Stay classified.
This is Logan Schuss, and you're listening to Lax Class.
Welcome back to Lax Class as we move into the second period of play. And period number 2 brought to you by EdgeDynamics.ca. This guy will probably know these guys. They're based out of Alberta. They partner up with nonprofits and small businesses, and they deliver sharp marketing strategies that make an impact. EdgeDynamics.ca is their website. You go there and you're going to sharpen your brand on a global level. Go see for yourself on their social media as well at Edge Dynamics Digital. Sharpen your brand on a global level. This guy's been sharpening the brand of the Raiders Lacrosse Club for quite some time. Came through as a player, now the head coach. I want to say a Raiders legend. Mitch Banister is on Lax Class. Mitch, welcome to the show. Thanks for doing this. I know you're taking a little time away from your work right now to do it, so we appreciate your time. How are things?
Things are good. Just staying busy working and just getting into playoffs here. So it's busy, but can't complain.
Well, I mean, I know it is busy. You got a family and you got a full-time job. You got the head coaching gig of a junior lacrosse team, which is that's a time suck as it is as well. So, let's start there, Mitch. How do you balance all that in your life to be successful at everything you do?
Well, I've got a great support cast here at home. I've got a girlfriend and a dog that allow me to spend my days at the rink. And then, we've got a great crew with the Raiders there and really balance everything out. And it allows us to kind of go full steam ahead. And we try and work as a team. And we've got a great supporting cast with the Raiders there, with the parents and management system and all that kind of stuff. And it definitely helps ease everything.
Well, I want to talk about that support staff. Of course, your general manager, Adam McBride, who's, been around that organization as long, if not longer than you have, handling the general manager duties. But the coaching staff in particular here with my boy Creeder and Creighton Reed and Brett Hickey over there as well. I really like the fact that you have some NLL experience. You got some of that as well. But having guys that these young players can look and listen to, knowing that they've played at the highest level, that's got to make a difference for you.
It's been huge having Brett join the group there 3 years ago has been fantastic. I mean, he's got a great pedigree, and just the amount of that he cares and the dedication that he comes to practice and games and approaches everything with. I think that it's a great example for our kids, and the same goes for Creighton Reed. I mean, he had a great career in the NLL, has some experience coaching out in Coquitlam there, and won a Minto Cup with them in 2016, I believe. So having guys there that can teach those fine points and give the kids the little details that we've been missing, it's been huge. And then having Andrew and Jesse there as well to come and support us, see anything that we might be missing or that we can work on and everything like that. It's awesome to have all the support that we do.
What specifically has your coaching staff brought to, pick out and, teach your players the ins and outs of junior A lacrosse?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the pace and the dedication that it takes. These kids have a lot of stuff going on in their lives. Some of them are just heading to colleges or finishing up high school and all that kind of stuff. So having guys that have been through it and then played at the highest level, like a guy like Brett Hickey, who's just a pure shooter, having him be able to teach guys certain ways that they can move or different areas that they can look to improve, and just those little small details goes so far. I mean, we really haven't had a pure offensive coach since Dane Dobie was on the bench, I think, in the mid 2010s. So having Brett step in to care like he does, it's been awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe now. You tell me, Mitch, but 07 when the Raiders Lacrosse Club was formed?
02.
02. So,
yeah.
I mean, coming up on 25 years here, man, that's pretty impressive stuff. And, I want to go back to the Minto Cup a year ago. And how many guys did you lose? It couldn't have been more than 5 or 6 off that team from a year ago.
We lost 2.
2.
So our captain, Colton Savard, and one of our left EO guys, Josh Goodman, we had almost the full team return. Had a couple guys end up cracking the lineup here this year, but having that group be able to stick around, and I think we had 8 to 10 guys that still weren't even at school. So they were able to continue pushing each other and working throughout the winter. They were in a box program there with Brett Hickey as well. So having that opportunity for them to have the same voice and the same kind of notes coming at them throughout the winter, it made such a drastic difference in us to be able to get off on the right foot at the start of the season and throughout training camp and everything like that. So it was awesome.
And then having that experience of, traveling, coming to the Minto Cup, knowing what to expect if you guys are lucky enough to get back there again, I think will be massive for you guys. And that was partly part of the reason that you guys decided to do a little bit of a Western swing kind of early in the year, just to kind of see how you guys stacked up and maybe get a look at everybody else and, talk about that kind of West Coast swing you guys did back in May.
Well, I think the biggest thing for us is we're pretty limited with our situation with only having 3 other teams here in Alberta. So part of it was us trying to figure out a way to get these kids more games. Teams out in BC and Ontario having extra games than we do in the regular season and playoffs. By the time 3 years goes by, it's almost a full other season of experience. So looking to find different teams to play. And I mean, we were pretty fortunate there that Coquitlam Due West and Delta allowed us to come out when their season was starting that next week. So it was a great opportunity for our guys to kind of get out there, face some different competition. It was a great team bonding experience as well to spend, 25 hours on the bus in 2 days or 3 days, but just to kind of also relax them if we ever do have the opportunity to compete at a Minto again, to kind of take away those nerves from facing other big teams like Coquitlam or anybody out east. So it just kind of helps settle them in for sure.
Well, your chances of making it back to Minto, Mitch, are pretty high after wins in games 1 and 2 against the SWAT. How's that series been going out for you guys starting out there in Saskatchewan?
it's been good. It was a good start for us. I mean, they came ready to play, and I think that's something that's pretty underrated here in Alberta is the level of compete and competition that the kids bring game in and game out. So we knew going in there that Saskatchewan was going to be ready to go, and they played a hell of a game against us there on Saturday and kept it tight through into the third period. And then Sunday, I think maybe a bit of experience just with our guys and stuff like that, that they were able to kind of settle in, and the playoff jitters were kind of gone, and we ended up having a really good game there on Sunday.
How about the other series, Mitch? Mounties and Miners locked up in another one here. I don't know if you got a preference on one or the other, but just talk about those other two clubs and whatever problems either one of those guys might pose to you if you can get through to the second round here.
Yeah, both are great teams, well coached, and they compete hard, and they've put in a lot of work over the season where they've made some massive strides, and we anticipate that being a pretty hard fought battle there. I think they'll be heading up to Edmonton this weekend. In regards to who we want to see, I mean, for us, we're going to plan to take it day by day. We'll kind of see what happens in that series. Both teams provide some pretty good threats. They run in transition. They've got some athletes out of the back. Calgary's got some good depth in their scoring with guys like Dexter Hannigan on the left-hand side and Caden Moon. And then with Edmonton, picking up that American Robertson, he's been fantastic all year. He's very shifty. So we'll be game planning against him. And then with them picking up guys like Cowan from Poco there, right, really adds to their depth, and they run out of the back extremely hard. So we're anticipating a hard-fought series, but we'll be if we get by Saskatchewan, we'll be glad to face whoever comes out of there.
Mitch, you said a couple questions ago that, the landscape of lacrosse in Alberta is very sparse. It's, there's only 4 teams to play. That's why you did a road trip out to BC. What is the landscape, though, of it? Like, is there talks of expansion, or just talk about exactly what junior lacrosse in Alberta entails and what you'd like to see in the future happen?
Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, if I could wish for something, it'd be to make it almost more like the WHL, where almost a Western league where we could get out and compete against the BC teams a lot more. Whether that's
I mean, Mitch, this isn't the first sorry to cut you off, but this isn't the first time I've heard this idea floated. I almost feel like there is a good contingent of BC teams in the BCJ that are on board with doing this, and then there's maybe a few that aren't. But what about Alberta? Are more teams kind of aligned with this idea of having one big kind of Western league between Alberta, Saskatchewan, and British Columbia?
Yeah, I think and we'd all like to play more teams. I think it can, sometimes, I think last year we ended up playing the minors 12 times within a season. Sheesh. So it's a lot, and I wouldn't say it hurts development that much or anything like that, but it can be pretty tough going against the same team that many times. So you end up having games like 5-4, 6-3 or something like that. Yeah. But logistically, I don't know how it would work if we could get into the BC League. I think with how Alberta lacrosse has progressed over the last couple of years, I think it's definitely opened some interest, and that's why I think we've been able to get out there for preseason tournaments or exhibition games and stuff like that.
Just meet in Vernon or Kelowna on a weekend, bang out a couple of games, go your separate ways, and every team's got to do that one time, and away you go. I think it's a feasible plan. I don't know if I've asked Andrew this or not, Mitch, so I'm going to ask you. I don't know how long it's been since the Raiders dropped the moniker Okotoks. It was the Okotoks Raiders for a long, long time, and then it became just the Raiders Lacrosse Club. I don't know how much you can kind of get into what happened, why it happened. You guys are based out of Calgary now, I believe. Why not the Calgary Raiders? Kind of fill me in on that, because it's I don't know if it's, like I said, I don't know if you can talk about it or not, but if you can, I'd like to be enlightened.
Well, I think they had moved back to Calgary before I had returned to the team, but I think all it came down to was the Centennial was where we played out of in Okotoks, and they decided to keep ice in the rink there. And then with Okotoks already having a junior B team there and a pretty strong minor program, trying to find a rink to play out of was a little difficult. So we made the move to Max Bell. I think it's a little easier on the kids. The majority of our kids are living in Calgary, so the extra 20 minutes to Okotoks can be tough midweek if guys are working and all that kind of stuff. So Max Bell's super central. We've got a fantastic facility there where we're lucky enough to share the dressing room that the Canucks use, the junior A hockey team there. So we've got a great spot for the kids where they can hang out, spend time. We've got spots where we can do film and have 20 guys around a table, a board table and all that. A great coach's room and everything. So we're really fortunate and lucky to be in the rink that we are. And I think that's all it really came down to.
Okay. So just sticking with Raiders Lacrosse Club, and that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
All right.
What's the history behind the logo? You got the beaver and the two sticks. Do you know how the team came up with the beaver in the first place?
I'm not too sure. Dave Fair, Jesse's father, was the original owner there. And I'm not too sure where he came up with it. It looks pretty close to a Sleeman's bottle, so I don't know if he was having a few of those or what. But we love the logo. Jesse does a great job with designing jerseys and all that kind of stuff for us. And to be completely honest, I'm not too sure where it came from.
Well, Mitch, I got to ask you, for every coach that I've ever met, I asked the same question, so you're about to get it too. Why do you coach?
For me, I think when I first started, it was my playing career had kind of winded down, and I was still looking for that competitive spark. So I think that's what initially drew it to me. Now, I find it's so fun to put these kids through these workouts and these seasons and all that kind of stuff and see them grow individually. It's pretty neat when you get to see kids return and go on to play in the NLL, or not even in the NLL, but to go and coach minor lacrosse and stuff like that. So seeing kids develop and take what they've learned from, just practices and games and the experience of sports and translate it into their real life is it's pretty rewarding. So I think now I really enjoy that side of it, and still the competitive edge is, it's almost worse than playing when you can't physically go out there and help the kids. It drives you nuts at times.
Oh man, you said it right there. Like, as a coach, I took the games home with me way more as a coach than I did as a player. And sometimes you just have a helpless feeling because you've done and said everything in your control and power to help these guys succeed, and then you're just kind of at their mercy a little bit that they go out and do it. And sometimes it's a bit of a helpless feeling. Hey, you mentioned the original owner, and the original owner of the Calgary Roughnecks was your father. I had a chance to see him under some, unfortunate circumstances at Jesse Phillips' service, I guess about a year ago now, Mitch. But I just wanted to check in on Big Brad and how things are going with him and what he's up to. And really, I guess a chance for you to talk about your dad and what he meant to the landscape of Calgary and Alberta lacrosse. Like, I don't know if there's any of this without him.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. He's doing great right now. He's got another couple of younger kids, so he's back coaching. I guess it'd be U8 or U10 lacrosse, girls lacrosse. We started up a girls lacrosse program that Andrew's daughter plays in. Sean Cable, Ryan Avery, Kevin Dosty. There's a group of them that have daughters all at the same age, so he's staying busy doing that. But yeah, he hung in there for as long as he did, and it was, I think, pretty tough for him initially when the sale happened and everything like that. But he also started up the Okotoks Mustangs lacrosse before he had the Roughnecks and everything like that. And I think that was one of the reasons why he held on for so long, was just to continue to grow the game of lacrosse in Alberta, which with the likes of him and then Bruce Urban later with the Rush and all that. I don't know if the Rush would have came around if the Roughnecks had not been there, but it was a pretty big passion for him, and he's back going to the games and all that kind of stuff and cheering for him again.
He's a Hall of Famer in my books, man, and I think he goes in as a builder at some point, and if he doesn't, it'll be a crying shame. Mitch, I look forward to watching the Raiders throughout the rest of the playoffs here, and who knows, maybe seeing you in St. Catharines a little later on next month. Appreciate you doing this. Don't get your wires crossed there on the job site, and say hi to the gang back there and with the Raiders, man. Thanks for doing this.
I will, for sure, and thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right, there you go. There is head coach of the Raiders Lacrosse Club, Mitch Banister, right there, and first timer on Lax Class. Mitch did great, and those Raiders are doing pretty great as well. Like I said, tight one in that first one. I think that's probably a good little wake up call for those guys, and then they just blew the doors off the SWAT in game number 2, and now they're going back home and look to close them out, and then just kind of wait and see whether it's Mounties or Miners again in the RMLL final.
Definitely. And I think should they make it through round one, they'll just continue rolling. And whoever they get in their provincial championship final, it's going to be a good one, going to be intense, going to be hard. And we will see who represents Alberta at the Minto Cup.
One more period to come here on the big podcast, Lax Class Lock of the Week. And the third period is right around the corner, right here on the Lacrosse Culture Daily Podcast Network.
Associated Labels and Packaging, a fun family company that offers premium quality labels and packaging with unparalleled service. With 40 years of experience, an extensive product catalog, and an ever-growing fleet of equipment, Associated Labels and Packaging is the perfect fit to take your labels and packaging to the next level.
This is Paul Del Monte, Commissioner of the WLA. You're listening to Lax Class, your go-to source for all things NLL and WLA.
Third period is a go, and third period action is always brought to you by Associated Labels and Packaging. They are a fun family company that offers premium quality labels and packaging with unparalleled service. Over 45 years, almost a half a century in the label and packaging industry, so you know they're dialed over there at ALP. Extensive product catalog and ever-growing fleet of equipment. They are the perfect fit to take your label and packaging to the next level. AssociatedLP.com. Third period, Lucas, you know what I'm going to say next. Subscribe, review, share the podcast. Get the numbers up. Get the classmates going. We'd appreciate that. Give us a follow as well on social media. Type in Lacrosse Classified. You'll find us. And also, period number 3 is where we do the Lax Class Lock of the Week.
Lock of the week.
Hey, let's lock and load it! Woo! Yeah!
I am going to be a very rich dude.
Ooh, it's a big lock, all right.
Lax Class Lock of the Week. Big lock, all right. It's presented by Coolbet Canada. Coolbet.com. That's where you go. Real simple. Coolbet.com. It'll take you right to the Coolbet website. Go figure. And you want to sign up for an account, especially if you haven't signed up for an account before. It'd be weird to sign up for a second account. I don't even think you can do that. But if you haven't signed up for an account yet, sign up for an account. But before you put any money in that account, this is where things are going to take a turn for the better for you, folks. Put in the bonus code LAXClass. One word, no spaces in there, LAXClass. And the folks at Coolbet, the polar bears, as we like to call them, will match your first-time deposit up to $200. So if you put in 50, they're going to give you 50. Put in 100, they're going to give you 100. So take it. It's only up to 200. So take advantage of this first-time deposit bonus. Put in the full $200. Then you get the full $200, and then you got $400. Simple math that you and I can do. 200 plus 200 equals 400. Simply by putting in the bonus code LAXClass. Take advantage of this, folks. Trust me. Now, Lucas, we talked a lot about missing the parlay in the first period just by one stupid stinking goal. We're over that. We're in to this week's Lax Class Lock of the Week. You have selected this one. I gave you a little guidance, but here is what we got. It's online already at a nice supple plus 400. Vic plus 1.5 at home against New Westminster on Friday night. Home team plus 1.5. 11-2-1. Shamrocks at home plus 1.5. We are going to take the under. A Wrigley, Chiliano. I might be Getty for all I know. He won the first matchup for New Westminster against Victoria. But we're going to go under 19.5. 12-8 and 6-5, the two finals. Average that out. We're going below 19.5. Jones for 4 points. He's been averaging over 5 per game. Mance for 3 points here for the Shamrocks. You're getting it at a plus 400. I like this parlay, Largy, and we got a chance in this one here at plus 400.
Yeah, we do. I think by bumping it up to 19.5 and taking the under on this when it could be Giuliano in a Wrigley or Getty, we don't know. I think at the end of the day, the offense, the player props are going to hit. It's that plus 1.5 that I'm a little hesitant on, but I do still think it'll hit for Victoria.
That is a massive game on Friday. It's at 1-1, right? New West won the first one. Vic won the second one. So this is deciding the season series. So if these two teams finish tied in the standings, which Vic's got the tie in there, so I don't know if it's going to matter or not. But even if it's a 2-3 scenario, like Coquitlam could finish in first place. All these games for these three teams, Coquitlam, New West, Victoria, coming down the stretch, and especially head-to-head matchups, Vic and Coquitlam play on the last game of the year in the regular season. So nothing decided in the top three, and starting to look more and more like Langley or Maple Ridge for that 4 spot, and Maple Ridge has the inside track on that race. Everybody with about 4 games left in the WLA. So once again, plus 400, Vic plus 1.5, under 19.5, Jones 4 points, Mans 3 points, and good luck, everybody. Stay cool, bet responsibly. I think that's going to do it, Lucas. Another good effort there for EP 347. 348 is right around the corner now. I got to talk to you about this offline, but it's going to be a busy August for yours truly, and cranking out the pod throughout the month of August might become a bit of a challenge here. Gonna have to figure out some details here, so just stay tuned on that, folks. But a busy August is coming up here, and we're gonna try and keep it rolling, but may have to skip a week or two, maybe we'll see. All right, let's get out of here. I want to thank Mitch Banister for coming by the podcast. I want to thank our sponsors ever so much for sponsoring the show: Associated Labels and Packaging, Rycor Construction, Edge Dynamics, Goalie Factory, Cool Bet, and the Western Lacrosse Association. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to This Week. For Lucas Arger, I've been Jake Elliott, and for the fastest game on 2 feet, and for the greater, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay classified.